In this video, I want to talk a little bit about my past health issues. When I was a child, I was born premature, so I don't know if that might have contributed to my health issues. But to make a long story short, I was diagnosed with things such as dermatomyositis, hypoglycemia, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. I had migraines, severe allergies, pain, tremors, all sorts of things. And when I was in eighth grade, I got sick and I tested positive for strep throat, and I went through the treatment for that. And as the days went by, I got worse. And it turned out that while I did test positive for strep throat, I had that, I also had some other things going on. So apparently, if they would not have just stopped at that one test, they might have determined that I had some other things going on. I got extremely worse to the point where I had to be hospitalized, and they ran all sorts of tests for cancer, for bacteria, viruses, parasites, and they still could not figure out what was going on. It got to the point where I was near death, and they exhausted pretty much every treatment, and it was to the point where they said all they could do was pray. And then a doctor said that there was some new medicine at the time that hadn't been used as much as other things. And since I had nothing to lose, they tried that and it worked. It was some intense steroid cocktail. I'm not really sure because I was in eighth grade at the time. And now I'm nearly 40, so I don't recall exactly what they gave me. But it got me out of the hospital, and I was better for a while. Now, all throughout my life, I've been into the martial arts. I have black belts in 5 different arts, and I've studied other arts. And part of some of the arts I studied included learning about Eastern medicine, and that helped me a lot. I learned a lot about so-called natural remedies and herbs, and that got me to the point that my health was extremely good. In fact, that's how I was able to get into the army. I thought that I was well. When I applied, I never disclosed the fact that I had past health issues because I figured that if I passed their physicals and tests, then I was good to go. And I passed the medical tests they give you and the physicals, so I joined the army where I was a medic, and things I've mentioned in a previous video. And eventually, I think it was probably because of being around large groups of people and being exposed to different allergens and pathogens, I got extremely ill. And to make a long story short, they found out about my past health issues and I got a medical discharge. After I left the army, I had I guess I like to call it a health roller coaster, where I would have periods of health and then my health would decline. I would be hospital so frequently. I like to joke that I was at the hospital more than the doctors that worked there. At at some points, I would not even be able to go outdoors without taking a Benadryl because my allergies were that severe. I would just step outside and start sneezing, and my eyes would water. I would have severe dementia-like symptoms where I couldn't remember names. I could be watching a television show, and when the show went to commercial, I couldn't recall what I was watching before it went to commercial. I had intense pain, tremors, and kidney issues, nervous system issues, all sorts of things. I was eventually diagnosed with lupus, and I don't know if you've ever seen the television show House about the diagnostician doctor, but if you watch that show, you notice that in almost every episode, someone comes in with the mysterious symptoms. They often test for lupus because lupus can cause and it can mimic a lot of other conditions. Eventually, I moved to a location that happened to be close to a vitamin and nutrition store. And as I continued to go there, it opened my eyes to the alternatives that were available. One thing I got on is called colostrum, which I talked about in the previous video. And that essentially eliminated all the symptoms that I had because of my lupus. Now, not only am I healthy, I'm like one of the healthiest people that I know. And you can literally count on one hand the amount of times that I might cough or sneeze in a month. I can't remember the last time I've had a cold or flu or anything like that. The only time I became ill is when I started a detox product and I exceeded what was on the label, and I caused a rapid detox effect that made me ill. Let's see. I don't want to keep rambling on and on, but the reason why I started doing these videos is because people often ask me the things I do to maintain my health, especially those people that know my past and how I was near death so many times and how I dealt with all the lupus issues and other medical conditions. I thought that the best way to share information would be to make these videos. So that's why I started this channel. And like I said in my first video, I do have a medical background, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't want you to think that I'm providing medical advice or endorsement or recommendation or anything like that. I'm just sharing information, and if you ever think that you like to try something that you see or hear in my videos, I recommend that you always check with the doctor first. And if you watch my first video, you'll know why. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy my videos.